Okay. Should got it now. Well, okay. Well, I've been doing some thinking lately, and yeah, some stuff. Coming to some very deep realization, you know. Right before I kind of got into an issue, I always wanted to be a director, a band director. But with the argument that happened between me and Karen, it kind of really hurt me a bit. And it's like my mind kind of, changed from time to time, you know. But now since I graduated, I'm taking some time off to rediscover myself in some ways, you know. And I kind of been researching graduate school and not just music per se. Because what if I don't get into music? It's not always guaranteed sometimes. But I have been thinking about something else. Keep music on the side. And pretty much going into a field that would be a best for me and also helping out clients with um, multiple backgrounds, multiple disabilities, uh, stuff like this. I've been looking into either becoming Q and in some of the places like Terrebonne Arc and possibly Lafourche, maybe. Also, I've been looking into even better, and I've been wisely thinking about this, and I'm doing a little bit more research as I'm gonna go with this. But I'm looking at programs dealing with MSW, Masters of Social Working. I kind of got into an argument with my parents about it, like at times, because they just want what's best for me. But hey, I know we fight because it's like it's not violent. It's just more yelling at each other situation. But it's just kind of getting me to the point. I'm looking into something that's a little bit more meaningful, like productive, meaningful, and pretty much happy. And I've seen most social workers during my time in school, public school per se, because I was in public school, for the most part of education because of special education stuff. But I have seen a lot of social workers from elementary to high school. And I thought about a few things that, based on the research of us doing in the backseat of the darn car on the way home from church this afternoon, I wrote, what qualities does everyone see in me? There's some qualities I already have in some. I picked up on during my time at Nicholson University. The first one was resilience. I say resilience because I kind of came from a rough patch during my time in SU. When I kind of came with that GPA of, and there was two of them, like the term being 1.75, and then the cumulative overall was a current too, because there are all different ways to describe the second one, being at a 2.75, that low. Which I wasn't really proud of that stuff, but I guess sometimes life does change. So, and also I came at a time that it was like a dark time to me too, and had not just to deal with the academic stuff, but having to deal with what happened to community band to meet Karen and Matt. Karen is married and Matthew playing it. And to say the certain individuals, but and I had to deal with how I'm gonna come back from that sort of incident, how I'm gonna turn it to positivity, how I'm gonna get the grades up to prove them wrong, that's a question mark. How I'm gonna remain on not getting on academic probation during the rest of my time in issue. How I'm going to get good grades. And the questions raged on and on and on. Like, went on and on. Let's put it away. And I had to really say, with every time, and this is life lessons I've learned during that time, per se. So, there's some class sessions that went pretty good. Like, and that one example being my lessons of the favorite teacher moment. Yeah, Dr. Miranda, I can talk about you a mile away. That's right. And there are times lessons were good and sometimes maybe not so very good. And yeah, I know I had tears every time I worked on something and then I just didn't get it. But that didn't stop me. And also I had tears of freaking out because of the darn about certain assignments and being a low grade on them. And I was like, how am I going to bring that up? How am I going to do this? And I had other serious issues like coming to campus, being in my late 20s and graduating in my 30s. Like, yeah, the realistic stuff that happened. And also the fact I had to know, okay, what classes am I doing bad with? What did I have to, how I'm going to come back from this stuff? And I thank goodness for him that he will correct me every time and keep my little butt on track. And maybe the fact I fought back because I'm just as stubborn as you can name it. Because I wasn't going to let my past repeat itself all over again. And then my last semester was my, and some parts of my schooling too, I've dealt with some stuff I've dealt with, like, and I wish there was another one I can say, but hey. But I can say my home, my old house, not this house particularly, but there's a right in back of my yard right now. My dad has to tear down. We lived in that home through most part of my education, and we had to evacuate during Hurricane Ida in 2021. What happened was, while that happened, the wind and everything tore the house, really like twisted it a bit. What happened was it took us a really long time to get we found the insurance balls on us, we found out FEMA, it took us a little bit to get FEMA help, it took us a little bit to get LA Restore. That's the general resources that we went through. It took us a long battle. And then we were living in really messed up conditions, like mold all over the walls, and especially on the ceiling, right by the window, because I had my room, an accent wall with the pink right where my bed was, and white on the rest of it. And also, white is like, when you get a hurricane, that is going to be really nasty. So I remember going through that hurricane. I've been through other stuff like that, and parts of it's like we were waiting to get out of our home. It was just unsafe to live. So and then it was around Christmas of 23, I believe. Yeah, Christmas of 2023, and we went to That's when we found out that we found out that we had to move out by 24, like after the New Year. So we've been homeless for 8 months. I had to continue on as like figure out how I'm gonna practice during those times because I had a recital that semester. Ooh yeah, recital means if you're a music student, yes, you will have a recital. You will have a hearing. I had to find a way to bust my little behind because I remembered my favorite teacher at the time. He saw that I had resilience. He saw I had the characteristics. Sorry about that. I'm gonna continue before I got a little bit of interruptions. And also the day of the hearing was a little bit of a surprise to 3 people. Dr. Vlad, Dr. Barney, Dr. Miranda. And I was so worried if I was going to get this hearing because of everything going on. I played through every piece, and how to read the rough draft of my notes per se. That was a pretty funny part. And I remember the dreadful waiting. And the dreadful waiting was waiting on what is gonna happen. It's like as a dad passed his hearing, and I'm gonna get my recital. And then the favorite comes out of the darn band hall. That's where I had our hearing at. He's like, "Oh, did you know you already got your earned your darn spot?" And I was like, "Yep," because I say this, Dr. Miranda, you're bright, and you noticed the fact you met a person with a way to come back from a situation. Sometimes comeback is good, because then sometimes comeback is gonna make us stronger, and that is what he was trying to teach me. And me, I've learned this myself too. That sometimes you shouldn't make excuses of why you can't succeed. You just gotta do it. That's just my attitude about this. Another one would be advocating. And I've learned this and picked up on this a lot growing up. Do every phase of life because my mom worked. Because there are times I've seen counselors screw up on scheduling in junior high and high school. And there are a buttload of times I had to go to the office and talk with a counselor saying, nope, you're not following my IEP. My IEP requests this class be inclusion, that class be inclusion, and adaptive PE. Which the 2 classes I was in inclusion for was math and English. And I don't remember reading, but it was math and English. Stuff like that. And also, I had to have adaptive PE, and I was in band. So they had to try some rearranging. Yep. And another thing I remember advocating for when And also just as on the job, I had to tell like, hey, like say when something's not right per se, and someone tried to and like try to do something to me on the job, like not gonna mention names of individuals because I don't want to exploit disabled ones. But I was working in a stress store one day and somebody accidentally got a belt on my butt, you know. And I screamed as loud as can be. Yeah, like, and this happened in the break room, and I'm not saying names or go into specifics on some stuff. And my supervisors are like, hey, what happened? Are you okay? And I didn't just say what happened. They just reported it and they just say, we're going to handle this. And, you know, and other than the poor guy in there, he just didn't mean it. So I was just like, okay, I forgive you because it's not good to hold a grudge because the word of God says you shouldn't hold it. And you shouldn't act so unforgiving to other people. So, which also leads me to my next point. And before that, I also advocated for things in school, like advocated for my what is called accommodations, and make sure that all the professors are following it. If I call a professor not like, let's say if the the assignment is a quiz or something and it has a timer to it, I would darn make sure that that teacher goes correct before I did it. I said, hey, professor, can you go correct this timer? I'm supposed to get a little bit more time on these. And you don't just give a problem. In more serious situations, I had to advocate was when was during COVID, and during when the students decided to go test people in the band room, and I was freaked out by that mess. So I had to follow that up with an email to Miss Amanda and the Ally building too. Say, hey, number one, and explain the incident to them. Second time that happened was in the spring of that the same academic year, which was 2022. And I kind of used my big girl voice saying, look, may I go get the conductor? And that's what I did, and they stopped testing ever since that incident. So the second part, and I'm going to go on to tell compassion. And I have a lot of friends who call me, text me, and you know, sometimes they get upset over things, something's bothering them, or they're in the hospital or whatever. They just say, hey, I want somebody to talk to. Hey, and I get this one person on there. He's like, my parents are not answering the phone, only you are. Like this, you is referring to me pretty much. So, and that's the way they kind of see that, you know. I talk to my mom almost about everything, and she sees it from a perspective that I do kind of care about people around, and that's what I thought. Dedication. Dedication is I was I love being dedicated to what I do. And if I was given a chance to do it all over again and go to a different area in life, I'd probably show the same thing as I did before. Respectful. Respectful is a good solid word because everybody that came around noticed I had pretty respectable attitude. Pretty much a respectful personality. I'm not downright rude to a person. And I'm not, when I'm talking to people, I'm not constantly on my phone, you know, because that's kind of rude. Whenever I'm, let's say, I kind of engage in a conversation if I have to. Gentle. Gentle is a good thing about me, because, like, whenever I do kind of get mad about something, I don't hit people, you know, I kind of get a little upset, but I don't hit, because I was taught when I was in my house growing up, say hands are for loving and not for hitting, and you don't want to hit people, because that's number one, that's a felony if you do that, and they could put me in behind bars, so that's why I did not do that. And also there's another rule most parents teach: keep that hand to yourself. I said die because die is found in the King James Bible, so look it up. Positive attitude. Positive attitude can mean a lot of things to different people. For me, positive attitude is like, I kind of don't look at things negatively, but I kind of look at, like, things being not pessimistic, but an optimistic way. Like, and the last one would be dependable. Dependable meaning that somebody can fully trust you to do what you say you're going to do. Like, if you know you're going to be at work on time, like most jobs start at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you clock out at the time you're supposed to clock out, that gets the employer to know, like, yeah, she is dependable. Yeah, this girl's reliable. Unless I have a sick day, that's the only way I call my job. And trust me, in the last job I had before I went to school, I had to learn that skill. Whenever I was sick, I had to call the bus shelter, so it wasn't coming. Yeah. And I had to also tell my supervisor at work and say, hey, I am not feeling good, I'm not coming in. You know, that teaches in a greater sense responsibility, which, if I was to put that word in this category, it would be like a breadwinner, if you want to know. You know, hope you like this video and just follow my journey for some more.